Hello everybody, this is Yael from Yael Alchemy, and I'm here to bring you the weekly Twin Flame reading for the week of June 4th through the 10th. I've missed all of you. I know I've been gone for the past couple of weeks, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't deliberate. I needed the time away because I had to deal with some medical issues. So it was like forced hiatus. And I had to take care of myself. The doctors couldn't figure out why these things were happening to me. I had to undergo several minor surgeries. And I even thought it was MRSA, but so they put me on all the kinds of really strong antibiotics imaginable, and my issue still wouldn't resolve. And so even, yes, they used the meds for MRSA, and then so they tried to get me on some stronger meds, the one that I had to take via IV, which were quite expensive really, and so that really stressed me out. And there finally I couldn't understand it because I had to get some labs, complete labs, every now and then, and they were fine. Everything was like optimal levels and all that. And I had to sort of get a medical degree overnight, trying to make sense of the results and how they all played in with one another, and trying to compute whatever ratios there are. Anyway, at the tail end of that resolving, it hasn't fully resolved now. Okay, but it's better, more manageable now. But I still have to walk around with some bandages on my head due to the surgeries and all that. And the thing is, when I was quite ready to connect again with all of you, then my computer gave out. It was one of those freaky Windows updates that totally messed up my computer, and I had to reformat and everything, and just get everything into being something functional. It's a good thing most of my files are in the cloud, so that was rather easy. At least that didn't stress me out. But in any case, it has been happening for quite some time that you make some plans and then they get vetoed. It seems like there's something else that needs to happen, or it's like you're in the game and your coach tells you to that you're going to get subbed for a while, and take a rest, and it's often for good reason, even if you still want to contribute and all that, but you're contributing more by really following the discretion of the great coach, so to speak. Okay, so anyway, well, that's that. And we just had the full moon a couple of days ago, I think. And what I did, because I got my computer finally working, things were working and all that, was that I charged all my crystals by the full moon. And a curious thing happened. And if anybody knows what happened, because I have this crystal, and it was clear. It was all white. Okay, it's one of the Synergy 12 crystals, but I forget because they're all like white. I forget which one it is, but it is one of the Synergy 12 crystals. And when after charging, you can see it's turned violet. So I'm rather curious what happened to it. Okay, so if anybody has some input on what happened to my crystal, I would really appreciate it. Just please put it in the comments. I just want to know. I'm naturally curious that way. Okay, let's get on with the reading. I don't know what has been happening in with the energies. I was just going with whatever was presented to me at the time. But oh yes, I forgot to mention, because I really didn't know. I didn't even bother to check what was going on with the collective at the time that I was sort of on hiatus. I did have this weird dream, number one, and number two. Well, let me talk about first, because I couldn't understand what is happening to me, and I did check. I laid out some cards and I checked with Spirit why this was happening, and apparently because my doctor couldn't understand it, I couldn't understand it. I tried to. Nothing seemed to be working, or it was working very slow. And when I checked my cards, it really had to do with Ascension symptoms. And just the other day, I saw one twin flame teacher talking about really purging from it's like the higher chakras are purging. So that's from the head up, and that's where my issues were. So if you have issues from the throat, shoulders, throat, neck, because there were several days wherein I really it was like having a crick in the neck. So these all have to do with these energies that are purging the higher chakras in preparation for belting. Okay, so there. So I just had to go with it. That was my cue. And secondly, yeah, about this dream that I had, I guess it was on the full moon, or maybe a day or two after that. It was very strange, and I haven't really sat down to analyze it. But there was a scene, and I knew it was the divine masculine, because it was just the divine masculine and the divine feminine. It was like there was a group of men, but there's this particular divine masculine that that represented the collective, okay, or part of the collective, and it was like they were being called to. And I don't know why I dreamt this. I wasn't watching anything related to the Holocaust, or it was like they were being rounded up and called into, I wouldn't say really gas chambers, but it was, they were being separated for a reason. It was like there's already been a verdict for some, and so the divine masculine there in my dream was, they were actually in uniform, I think, and he was heading towards that place that they were being called to, and it wasn't really a happy place. It was more of like a punishment. And the female in my dream, the divine feminine, was looking on wistfully and very, very sad. It's because and I had the feeling that they were not just going to a place, they were boarding a train. They were being rounded up to board a train. Okay, and at the last minute, so there's this woman here, and then she's looking at the scene, looking very wistfully and really sad, and because knowing what fate is in store for those who are boarding that train. But the very last minute, the divine masculine in my dream turns around, looks at the divine feminine, and recognizes. It's like something clicked at the last minute, and but he was still walking towards the train. So I don't know really what that means, or if that has any particular significance. But maybe in the next couple of days I'll try to see if there are any messages there. But here, we've asked for messages for the coming week, and as always, I've already prayed over the cards and shuffled them. Sorry for the long intro, I've missed you, and that was my energy update, really. And we'll see what the cards hold now. So at the bottom of the deck, we have here the King of Swords. And in here, in the King of Swords, this speaks of a being very decisive. And in terms, this is an energy of, it's like supreme integrity. Okay? Cutting away what doesn't ring true. And it's an energy that is very precise, not only precise, very determined. It's like no dilly-dallying anymore. This is it. It's like creating a path and being determined, yeah, to do that. Okay? And look, here, we have here the Eight of Swords, represented by this bird of prey, this hawk, I think, and which is blindfolded and chained to this what do you call that? The glove that the people in the zoo use for displaying these birds. And so this Eight of Swords represents things, situations, wherein that serve as blocks. And here's the king in the foreground, okay, ready to chop away, chop a path through all those blocks, clear that path, okay? And here we have next the Hermit card, which is the energy of really of isolation, doing things alone. And this has something to do with also because, you know what, when I was away and I was dealing with all that, I had to transmute. A lot of resentment came up surrounding the frustration with my twin and all that. And it's just like you had to let it go. And that was also one reason why I wasn't giving readings, because I wasn't in the proper frame of mind. I was still in the process of transmuting that. Okay? And when that happens, and I'm sure that happens with a lot of you, you just have to go with it, embrace it, and let it go. It's not easy, especially when you're dealing with disappointment, frustration, and it would be unrealistic to say that that doesn't happen. Okay, and sometimes you have to go at it alone. And so here we have this Hermit card, doing these things, chopping away at the things and the situations that serve as blocks, by separating yourself from the din, from the crowd, from the chaos, from all the pressure. Doing this this introspection by yourself. And look here. Here we have the Seven of Cups. And the Seven of Cups, you see this dancer here. But the tray on which the cups are, or she wants to serve, they're all falling down. And this really talks about seeing past the illusions, these illusions of happiness, but you know the cups are really not stable. Okay, so the things that make you happy, they're wobbly at this time, and that's why this is needed. So see, so the source of the happiness, because there is a recognition now, an honest assessment of what blocks remain to union, and there you have it. And after that, we have the Queen of coins. Queen of Wands, rather. This is the Queen of Wands. And here, that's when we have this great motivation, this great passion to do all these. Okay? So even then, there is the co-creator side of you kicks in, and you realize that this is necessary. It's like part of the rebuilding process, the re-engineering process that you're going through. Okay, so there. Let's go now to the Divine Masculine and see how he's been. It's been a couple of weeks, and I'm sure all of you have been staying in tune, in touch with all the other videos that have been put out on YouTube, and without fail sometimes. So really, but I wish I could do that. But I'm human like the rest of you, and I have to purge. I have to really incorporate the energies and still deal with daily life. Okay, so anyway, so if you've gotten guidance, we'll see if this resonates with what everyone else is saying. Okay, first for the Divine Masculine, we have the World card. And look, this symbolizes a completion. Here you can see the Earth. It's kind of like the Big Bang Theory, wherein from this explosion the Earth is finally completed. So there's a completion going on with the Divine Masculine. And I'm getting the feeling that whatever the Divine Feminines were going through during this time, it was part of the mirroring of sort of like a final purge for the Divine Masculines that are entering into their completion phase. They have been going at this for several months now, okay? But it's the time frame is really not set in stone. It really depends on a whole lot of other factors. And the next card that we have is, see here, the Queen of Swords. And this complements the King of Swords here. The desire to live your life with integrity. And here, the Divine Masculines finally being able to see with their third eye. You can see that the Queen of Swords here, very gracious, but she has her eyes closed. But then again, her palms are open, and that's how she's able to see. So this is seeing beyond what is presented to them, and being aware of the other aspect. So what has been completed for the Divine Masculine? See, it's like not only the orientation phase, it's like the basic course in their ascension journey. They've gone through that, and that's why, especially in some of my client readings, a lot of the Divine Masculines are coming up with energies that are more mature than what their energies were when I first started reading that particular client. Okay, because they're going through that process, and now they've finished this course, and but do they know what to do with it? Now he knows, at least, to ask for guidance. He knows now that what is being presented to him is not the whole story. Okay, so he knows how to look beyond what he can see. And the next card for the Divine Masculine is the Six of Coins. And here, this represents not only generosity, but more importantly, reciprocity. Okay, so here now, what they're telling me right now is, you know what, for a long time, the higher selves of the Divine Masculines, especially those who are, let's call them, very hard-headed, are very much connected with 3D, and with that 3D process, a lot of their higher selves have been going at it and trying to give them cues, trying to point them in the right direction, trying to get them to go on the right path. But look, finally there is reciprocity here. It's not like they're talking to the wall, talking to the hand anymore, because now that the higher self has an audience that listens. See? And this is a card that, look here, the palms are open in receiving gesture. And so, as the Divine Masculine receives guidance from above, there is an acknowledgement from him now and a reciprocity. Okay? Because, look, the general energy here is integrity. And in being true to yourself, realizing that there are blocks to be overcome, whether it's the Divine Feminine or the Divine Masculine. So this is a good development for the Divine Masculine here. And the last card we have here is the Queen of Pentacles, the Queen of Coins. And here this is a very maternal card, a very protective energy. But I'm not feeling that this has to do with the Divine Feminine. Okay? It comes underneath the World card. And what this means, this has particular significance for the Divine Masculines that are still in karmic relationships. And this card these cards rather, indicate a wrapping up of that. Okay? Because here, it's like saying that if before the Divine Masculine didn't want to go because, didn't want to wrap up that relationship because he felt obliged, even if their soul contracts with each other have already been accomplished. You know, because that's why we get into some relationships with others once, because of our soul contracts. And once that soul contract is finished, unless you're really sensitive to divine guidance and you ask for confirmation, if you don't get the inner prompts, usually it's a gut feeling. You know when something is done and over and done with, right? And that's your cue to leave, because there are other people that you have had soul contracts with. But the Divine Masculine, because he still was in this trapped in that stereotype of being the protector, the provider, and all that, he felt a resistance to really wrap up the contract. But now that he can see beyond the expectations of society, beyond the expectations of basically, yeah, that the expectations of society, or whatever his commitments, his obligations are, see, that's wrapped up. Because now is the time for him to really get in touch with his higher self and have a conversation, so that he can be tweaked, his path can be tweaked onto the path that is for his highest good. Okay? So that's what we have for the Divine Masculine. And the card we have here is the Hanged Man. Okay? So the Hanged Man, number one, it indicates a pause. But for the Divine Masculine, you can see that whenever you hang something, it usually twirls around. Okay? There's a momentum there. It makes it twirl around. So all these events are going to cause the Divine Masculine to change direction. Change direction from this was what he was stuck with before. And now he's able to look elsewhere. But he needs this pause so that he can recalibrate himself. Because there is an ongoing conversation between his physical self and his higher self now. And that is a good thing. Okay, so it's like he's positioning himself in order to pivot. Okay, and hence the pause. Okay, let's go now to the Divine Feminines. First card for the Divine Feminines, see, it's the same thing. See, Hanged Man, and we have the Hanged Man for the Divine Feminines. And it is that pause. Now, it seems like both parties are paused, but I'm getting the feeling that it's preparation for something, for what Let's see. Okay, so this is a pause on the part of the divine feminine, mirroring also the divine masculine, and we'll see what other information you can get for that. Look at this. We have the Nine of Cups. And this Nine of Cups, especially in this particular deck, which I was guided to use, uh, this is this speaks about accomplishment, but this speaks about rest. Okay? It's like, look, the divine feminines have gotten to a point wherein they know what the journey entails. They know the formula of how to transmute, how to keep your vibrations high. And right now, there's this pause because the rest is needed for what we're going to see. But this is like I said, and I don't know if a lot of you have shared my experience, wherein you really had to take a step back, not only physically, because sometimes it's an emotional distance that you need. Okay, in order to manage or handle a situation properly. That's why in anger management, well, I haven't taken anger management, although I do have temper, okay, because I have a lot of fire planets. That's why the Rashiba works very well when I do it. I have a lot of place to access fire from. Okay, so anyway, like in anger management, instead of just blowing out like a volcano spewing out, you're taught to take a step back, count to 10, so that you can manage the situation more effectively, and in a more diplomatic way, a better way of handling things. So this is the step back, the rest that the divine feminines are currently undergoing, or will still continue to undergo. Okay, because energy, it doesn't stop with the timelines of the week. Even though I give readings for this date to this date, it's very fluid. Okay, so, and sometimes the messages that I get are in advance. It happens weeks later for some of you because, like I said, it's energy, and it depends what blocks you have. So it goes with the flow. Okay, so anyway, there's that rest here. And then, okay, look at this. So this is the rest before the battle, so to speak. Here we have the Knight of Swords, and you can see he's in action. This reminds me of the opening scene in Gladiator. I'm sure a lot of you have watched that movie, and in the opening scenes, that was the battle for, I forget which part of the Roman Empire. But this is full battle mode, going straight for the kill. Okay, so this is action. It's like, for a lot of the divine feminines, they've taken this rest because the reckoning with their twins, the time for them to really face the music and either have that conversation, bring up the subject again, present, because a lot of you have been in separation all this time and doing the healing by yourself. The Hermit card here. Okay? But the time is at hand for when this meeting, this conversation that is bound to happen will happen. And this is in preparation for that. Because when that time comes, you're going to have to be ready to lay your cards down on the table, and with as much integrity as possible. Okay? And a lot of the divine feminines have done their work trying to shed ego, but if you aren't finished yet, if you aren't done yet, it won't be the same frequency with your divine masculine. Okay? And curiously, there are some divine feminines that even if they're actively on this journey, their divine masculines are actually waiting for them to raise their vibration. And short of really, sometimes some divine feminines, they get blinders just because they're actively on their ascension journey. They listen to videos like this, they get readings and healings and all that. They think that that is enough, but those are just tools. If it doesn't change you, if your energy still is still the same, and your motivations are still there, that's going to surface. And somebody who is sensitive to energy can really pinpoint that, where that is coming from, whether it's coming from defensiveness, or whether it's coming from fear. It's very easy for somebody who's sensitive to energy. So there, and in those cases, well, those divine feminines are blessed. Their divine masculines are just waiting for them to really upgrade themselves. Okay, but there, the divine feminines, like I said, because integrity is a big thing here. And look, this the calm before the storm, before that reckoning with your twin. So there is some rest here that's going on. Okay, and we have here the Three of Wands. And this Three of Wands, this is planning, this is preparation, this is strategy. And that is why there is a pause. Because when this time comes, this opportunity comes, you're going to have to be ready. You have been, a lot of you have been working on yourselves on a spiritual level, but like I always say, that energy has to be translated into 3D, because this is where you operate. Okay, and when this happens, you can't just throw off it's like magic words, like we are already together in 5D. We have our souls are intertwined. No, you have to prepare yourself in translating that into words that your divine masculine can understand. Okay, so all these things, your journey, you have to be able to convey it to your divine masculine without spooking them out. I don't know how else to say it. Okay, and that's why there's this rest. So this is the rest, the calm before the storm, before moving head on. Because look, he's almost there. He's just having this conversation right now before he recalibrates himself and pivots. Okay? And here, for the divine feminine, we have the Four of Swords. Again, healing. Wow. Just like reading cards for me. Healing, rest, a pause, because something is coming up. And it needs to be dealt with as much integrity as possible. So there has to be a certain strategy for the divine feminines on their part, so that when this opportunity crops up, then they are equipped to handle it the best way they can, and they can get the most out of that opportunity. Okay? So I'm going to pick a card in the middle. For both twins. Okay, here we have the Nine of Wands. Kind of spooky card, but this is, look, this is the Nine of Wands, and it's represented by this cat. You can see it's in the dark, and it's waiting to pounce. Usually they're nocturnal hunters. Okay, they hunt prey at night. And That's why the eyes are gleaming. So this is a waiting, but this is an active waiting period, and waiting for the proper time, and just watching, observing very carefully and being very alert, but still in the bushes, still not engaging. Okay, so be very sensitive. Check out what situations you have with your twins, and hopefully you'll be guided by the messages that have been laid out. Um, so there. I'm actually quite glad that I did a reading this week, because I haven't checked it out for myself what the energies are, but it looks like. So let me know, okay? Tell me in the comments if you've been going through the same thing. It has been a very challenging time the past couple of weeks, and I hope that you've gotten through those if you have been purging unscathed, okay? And well, it's my birthday week this week, okay? My birthday is on Thursday, and if you remember, sometime last month, I did offer an Akashic Records contest. No, I don't have a contest right now, but I told you I was going to offer it at such time when I was ready. Okay, and I think after all this purging, I was given the ghost signal to offer this to the public already. And so it's already up on my website. If you feel so guided to get a couple's Akashic Records reading, this is a reading wherein you will learn about the past lives you shared with your twin, or even if you're not twin flames, okay, with somebody you're coupled up with, and the karmic carryovers into this lifetime from those past lives. Usually I will scan the two most important lifetimes, whatever the Akashic Records show during the reading. Okay, and this will give you insight on the soul contract that you agreed with your twin or your partner for this lifetime. And it's very helpful, and because you get to understand why things are the way they are, why you react to certain things, why he's like this, like that, and what you have to resolve in this lifetime, coming together at the same time, incarnating at the same time. And of course, in that reading, I will also, there's also 3 questions that relate to what he is thinking, what he or she is thinking or feeling at present. We'll tap into his or her energy and see what messages that we get. Now, this reading is going to be, it's not going to be a video reading, it's going to be sent via MP3. There, and right now, because it's my birth month, for I don't know if well, let's just do it for this week, right? I'm going to offer it at 50% off, so do check that out, because okay, let's do it for the whole month. This will be my gift to you, okay? So there, check that out now, and if you feel so guided, do book a reading while it's on sale. It'll be on sale for the entire month of June, okay? So, that's what I have for you. I missed you. I missed everyone. As always, please try to help keep this video up on the suggested list by commenting, by liking, and tell me how you've been doing during all this time. Okay? Thanks everyone. Take care. Bye.